Hello, the topic for today's session is SAP Certification Important? This is Hassan Mir from 02protraining.com. To certify or not to certify? This is a very common question asked, mainly for these reasons. The cost, not only in terms of money but also in terms of time, and often it's questioned whether the certification is relevant to the practical knowledge required for the implementation, and also it is questioned whether the certification has an impact on career or not. So these are the reasons that lead to this question, a commonly asked question, whether to certify or not to certify. So let's discuss. Before we move forward, we need to understand that whenever we are talking about certification, we need to clarify from which perspective are we talking. Are we talking from a perspective of a fresher, or are we talking from a perspective of an experienced person? So in short, SAP manpower could be divided into two groups, fresher and experienced. So irrespective of the fact whether you belong to the fresher group or experienced group, if you have decided to certify, you should make sure you have weighed your options very clearly. What is the right answer? Should we certify or not? It totally depends on the situation in which the person is, and on the person as well. So there is no right answer, first of all. So we will try to discuss different situations in which a person could be, and then we will try to find out if certification is a good choice or not, rather than reaching one absolute answer. So if you take two dimensions or attributes, whether a person has a job or not and whether a person is certified or not, you will come up with this matrix of four groups: certified and jobless people, non-certified employed people, certified and employed people, and non-certified jobless people. The most suffered party here is certified jobless people. They chose to certify and they're still jobless, and that is the most suffered party. So we try to understand what is that a certification can do for you and what it cannot do for you. Keep in mind that if you look around, you will find people in all these four categories, and that is an indication enough that it's not as simple as you get certified and you will get a job. Otherwise this group would be empty, and that is not the case. So there are complex factors in the equation. Certification is one of the factors in the equation, but it's not the only decisive factor. This is what we need to understand. Now this is not good if there is a fresher and who is taking certification as a quick fix to enter the job market. Then this is not in agreement with the reality, and this is what we need to understand, that it is not a license to enter the job market. And unfortunately that is the case these days, and it was not the case in earlier days. So if you have this perspective, then you need to do more research on the internet and maybe talk to more people and make sure that you know what you're doing. However, now let's consider another situation. We have an experienced person already in the job market, and this person wants to enhance the marketability, okay, because the project is over and this person will be looking for a new project, and this person needs to market himself, and certification can play a good role to increase the chance of this person getting a new project. Okay, so this scenario is in agreement with the reality, and if this person goes for the certification for the sole purpose of increasing his chance of getting a new project, then that will make sense. So one can argue that I'm still a fresher and I don't have an experience, but I still like to do certification and I still like to take my chances. So the bottom line is that having a certification is definitely better than not having a certification, but you have a certification at a certain cost. Is it really worth it? That is the question. And this question is applicable to both fresher and to experienced people. Is the certification worth it for this price? And the cost not only includes this price but also the time that you will be spending towards studying and towards writing the exam. Again, this depends on your situation. Like, if you're very rich, maybe $700 is nothing for you, but if you're not very rich, then $700 is not a small amount. And also depends on your country, the exchange rate, and the actual amount in your local currency. That will basically dictate how much expensive this is for you. In some situations, corporations do pay for their employees' certifications, and if that's the case with you, then it's a no-brainer. You should go for it, and the only thing you're spending from your pocket is your time. Now here's the bottom line. If you go and look for the SAP jobs listed on the main job boards like Monster, Workopolis, Dice, etc., and look for how many of those jobs are requiring you to have the certification. There aren't many. So that is the bottom line. So if you get certified, that's good. That will increase your marketability. However, it's not really a requirement as such. And that is true not only for SAP, for other ERPs as well, like Oracle. So there are certain areas in IT where certification is a must-have. Most of the hardware-related areas are like that. But SAP job market is not certificate-driven. This is what you need to keep in mind. And we're going to talk about later, the most important criteria is the experience. Now let's talk about the factors that are considered when somebody is hired either on employment or on contract basis. The number one factor is the experience, meaning how long the person have been working, in which country person have been working, in which companies, and on what positions. And after experience, the second factor that is considered very important is the breadth of knowledge. In how many modules you have expertise. Obviously you need to remain an expert of a certain area. You can't be an expert of multiple functional areas, but still you can't be just an expert in one module. You have to learn few modules belonging to that area. Then the third important factor is the depth of knowledge. So listing the number of modules you know on the resume might lead you to the job interview, but you won't be able to prove in the interview that you really know the details, the depth. So it's very important that you be a master of one area at least. That area may include few related modules, and when I use the term master, then that means you really have the depth of knowledge.